we are literally watching the greatest of all time in real time.
I think she could retire right now, and she's already the GOAT. And I don't even think it's close.
Yeah. Welcome to today's show, everyone. Thank you guys again for listening to another episode of the Men Who Cry podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about A'ja Wilson's greatness, the Liberty struggle, transgenderism, and all that happening in the WNBA. Please like, subscribe, review, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a friend. If you don't have to do things, I would have to believe that you didn't believe that Russell Westbrook, retired today. Both Russells in our lives is done. Real breaking news. I didn't know. I'm not here just talking to myself. I am talking to Will Engstrom. No, he is not the evil character in Invincible. He is actually a very knowledgeable sports creator. Will, how are you doing today? Thank you so much again for joining me.
Yes, thanks for having me back. I think it was last time we talked, Knicks won the championship, so I'll say congrats. I may have been a good luck charm for you. I don't know, but yeah, no, it's good to be back.
Quick story. I don't know if I ever shared the story on the pod yet, but quick Knicks story. So I was in Brooklyn when I saw them win, and I lost my mind for like 5 seconds. I was on substances that I will not share what they were on this pod. Yep. And one of my buddies was like, yo, let's go to the city. So like people who aren't from New York, when I say the city, I'm just talking about Manhattan. Like I know Brooklyn and Queens, that the city is Manhattan. And so we essentially walked to the train station and we're going to take the train in. Now, the thing about it is this is late at night. And late at night, especially on the weekends for the trains, they all go local. So it doesn't really matter where you are. It's going to take extra time to get you into the city because none of the trains are running express. I thought it was a good idea to hop the turnstile, right? Statute of limitations is passed. It's fine. I'm not going to get this. And I try to do this. I'm not normally a turnstile jumper. Even in my younger days, I wasn't. But I was like, I'll do it. But the thing about it is, Will, is that I don't know how it is. I don't even know like if you even have subways. But for us, it used to be you could just put your hands on the side and kind of just hop over it and you're good. They changed it now to where they raised the railings up to where it's like about 7 feet high. Maybe not 7 feet, maybe like 6'6" or whatever. And they made them jagged. So you can't even put your hands there because it will cut. And they also made the turnstiles. They kind of made them like if you go to like Six Flags or whatever, where it's kind of like sticking up. It's kind of like a flag at the top or a panel at the top. So I put my hands on the side and still try to do it. But the thing is that my left hand slipped down and I'm wearing shorts. So my leg went straight down onto one of the panels. Got a nice scar on my leg because of that. So that was my Knicks winning the championship experience. As I went to the city, saw Armageddon, then I had to catch a flight the next day. So that was my experience of winning the championship.
I was gonna say that's probably the least bad thing that happened that night. I'm sure everybody was with you. But
trust me, the thing is like bad things happen, but not as crazy as I think the media wants to try to act like. People are like, 3 people got stabbed. They're like, that's a Tuesday, my brother. Like,
that's New York.
Normal out here. Yeah. Speaking of normal, or what's even happening normal is, I wanted, before we get into the WNBA talk, we just had a lot of breaking news that happened today. I just mentioned Westbrook was just retired, 17 years in the NBA, won an MVP, 4-time triple-double winner, went to the NBA Finals with Kevin Durant and James Harden. Will absolutely get his number retired, a part of one of the 75 greatest players of all time. And someone who I have gained a lot more respect for, I think, after his peak than maybe during his prime. I am very famous in a group chat of saying I would have never wanted him on my basketball team. Yep. But I also think that he was a legend and a guy who played hard all the time. And I think that's something that should be commended, honestly. And I think he's truly the first athlete who had the rub against analytics, where analytically they did not like this man. But if you watched him play, you thought he was one of the best players in the league. I mean, this man won an MVP, right? But I'd like to hear, do you have any thoughts of Westbrook's retirement and just his career overall?
Yeah, he's going to be an interesting guy to look back on because yeah, I agree. He like in his prime, he was a very divisive player, and I would tend towards what you were saying, whereas like I didn't want him on my team. He ended up going on my team in the Lakers, and we don't need to talk about that stint. Um, but like I have a respect for him. Like he changed the game. He changed how we think about triple doubles. It's just going to be interesting when we look back in 20 years. Do we think he was a good player, or do we think he was just this high, really competitive triple double king that didn't really impact winning? Because I mean, I kind of tend to agree with the analytics. Like in his prime, he won MVP, and his team was what, the 6th seed or 7th seed?
Yeah, 6th seed.
So like that I think
lost
is the
in round
player
1
we're
to
gonna
the
think
Rockets.
Of. Exactly. So it's like, okay, you got all these triple doubles. What was it for? And I say that as somebody who liked Westbrook, but he's going to be, I don't know, an interesting guy to look back on.
Yeah, and I think the stint, we don't have to get into the Lakers stint, but I think that really, really, really hurt him.
Yeah, that messed with his
image,
the way we think
really
about him.
Bad. And I just don't think he ever fully recovered from that. And I think he's just oddly a guy who I made this comparison to someone about dating. Ironically, stick with me. I was saying how in the NBA, well, I'll flip it. I said, if you're dating, when you're dating someone, or just dating in general, ghosting is just a part of the game, right? If you are not willing to accept that, you're just gonna have a hard time dating, right? It's just what happens. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that's what happened. I was making a comparison to that to the NBA on 3-point shooting. 15 years ago, people were not shooting the three like they were now. And the proliferation of the threes is just a part of the game. If you are not 7 feet tall, if you can't shoot a three, you can't play. Like you can't play in the league. I can probably name 3 guys off the top of my hand who fit that profile, who play. DeRozan, who might be out the league, Josh Giddey. Like we are talking about a very small handful of guys. And Westbrook, I think, was just one of them of why the playoffs went so bad. He just never was able to truly develop a 3-point shot, which is weird because someone who I think we compared him to a lot, Derrick Rose, clearly shot threes. I remember the time when he was on the Knicks when he almost won 6th Man of the Year. He was a great 3-point shooter. And to see that Russ could never figure that part out, I don't know if it was him. I don't know if it was just he physically just didn't have the talent to do it. I don't know what it was. But that part of it, I think, really kind of stunted what his career kind of could have been, even though he played 17 years. I mean, he played, how many years did he play? OKC, 9? He played 8 more seasons after that. Played with the Wizards, played with the Rockets, played on a bunch of teams. And I think his legacy is going to be fascinating just because, and I agree with you, because now the triple double, which I think was his thing, the fact that Jokic has now done it twice, and I mean, if Jokic has done it twice, you have to think more guys can be able to do this going forward. I don't think it's going to age as well as I think it would have done the very first time he did it. And I think it's good that he did it 4 times. I think the thing that might keep it is if no one else does it as many times as he did it. Because I still think that'll be hard. Like Jokic has to do this 2 more times, you know?
Yeah.
And
but I mean, I think even if we see it more often, he's still, to me, the trendsetter. Like you can throw Oscar Robertson or like others back in the day, but like he was the guy. I don't really want to make this comparison, but like he was the guy of what Steph Curry was doing at 3-point shooting.
Yes.
Westbrook is that guy for triple doubles. And yeah, I'm not saying that he's to the level of Steph Curry, obviously, but like when we look back, we're going to be like, oh yeah, all these guys get triple doubles now. No, I'm not saying because of Westbrook, but he was the guy that kind of started it. Then it was Jokic, then it's, everybody after that. But, whether or not we look back and say, okay, it's not as impressive, he was the first guy to do it. So I think he deserves credit in that sense.
Yes. I believe he was the first guy to, it's crazy how many times we're comparing Jokic to him. First guy, I believe, to win the MVP as a 6th seed, and then Jokic did it, I believe, the next year as the 6th seed as well. But shout out to Russell Westbrook, one of the great players of all time. Other point that we have to talk about too are your Lakers are no longer owned by the Walters. I will give you the space because I would love to hear what you think about everything that just went down with the Lakers.
I mean, the age that we're in of misinformation and all of that, I did not think it was real at all. Okay. It didn't come from Shams too. I think it came from Ramona Shelburne, who first broke it. We're still learning information, so I still don't really know what's going on. But my initial takeaway is it's not good for the Lakers. I think we even talked about it last time I was on. Lakers hasn't been a great, decade besides, the one championship. I was excited for Mark Walters, like bringing the Dodgers organization, bringing that stability, that like cutting edge that the Dodgers have and all of that. So I was excited. I was like, okay, Mark Walters, this is our guy. And then for him to just essentially flip the Lakers, to me, something's off. Like, I don't know if it's the FBI thing, like he's being investigated for something. I don't know if that has something to do with it. Maybe you have more information. But just from a Lakers fan perspective, like I would way rather have Mark Walters. I hesitate to say I almost even would rather have the Buss family back than this weird Kushner, Bob Iger like ownership. It's just weird vibes. I mean, good for the Lakers to be sold for $12.5 billion or whatever that number is going to be. But yeah, I was excited with Walters. I'm not excited at all for this new group.
Yeah, I have many thoughts on this. I think I'm trying to make them as concise as possible. I think, one, I absolutely think this has something to do with the feds because even in Ramona Shelburne's reporting, I don't know if you saw her interview or I guess segment on First Take. The way this went down made no sense.
Really quick.
Because one, not just it went really quick, but she said Iger and I guess Kushner were looking to buy the Vegas expansion team, and then thought to themselves, "Oh, let's see if the Lakers are available." Like that makes no sense. That would, in my mind, that's the equivalent of I'm dating this girl. Another dating reference. I'm dating this girl, and then maybe I'm far down the line, and then I go like, yeah, but this other girl who's probably the hottest on the block has a boyfriend. Let me see if she's available. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And the fact, like you just said, it happened in, I think they said that Ramona said the conversation started on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's like 3 days.
We're recording this on Wednesday. And so they came to agreement in 3 days. And I'm supposed to also believe that it's cheap. I understand, like, of the two, I would rather own the Lakers than whatever the Vegas expansion team is. But I'm supposed to believe now that the Lakers buy was either equal or less than what the Vegas team was going to be. That doesn't make any sense. So I think there's something there. Talk about the fact that Walters owns the Dodgers as well. They were just at the White House. Isn't lost on me that Kushner is a part of the buying process. If you do not know, he is the brother of Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner is married to Ivanka Trump. Need I say more? Like, all of this just seems very weird. And because the biggest thing is that, and I had this argument, not an argument, I was having a discussion with my friends about this, who was saying how it was just a profit move or just a business move, and like he'd be able to make $2.5 billion, which again, like, sure, but you don't buy a team to make a profit. You can make a profit from this, but that's not what a guy buys it for. You buy it in order for like, it's a dick swinging contest. Like, I have this thing I've won, especially the Lakers. This is not Memphis. This is not, this is not the Knicks even. This is the gold standard franchise in the NBA. This is probably the second or third greatest franchise in potentially the world. Like, this is up there. And the fact that he was like, nah, I was going to get this and flip it. It's like, you're flipping it for what? That's the other thing too. So I just think there's a lot more information that's going to come out. Love that this podcast is going to come out. And then sure enough, Walsh is going to be arrested. Yeah, I think there is way more to the story. And I think that the fact that people are just like, oh yeah, nothing to see here, I think is a little sketch.
I don't buy at all that he's doing it for the the profit or for the flip. Because yeah, like you said, you don't buy a basketball team and then just sell it after a year, even if you're going to make $2 billion. Like, especially with the timing of it all, like something's fishy going on. If it was just any other billionaire, I think it'd be one thing. But then the fact, like you said, that it's Kushner and Bob Iger, like I know there's rumors with Adam Silver and Disney, and there's a lot going on. I think on both sides, like there's fishiness. Like, yeah, we're gonna learn a lot more by the time this comes out. But
yes, exactly. And of course, as people who are fans of the WNBA are probably now mad that we talked about the men's basketball before we talked about the WNBA. We're really sorry we can't control the news, but those are two topics we had to talk about before discussing the W. Which I want to say this part off top. We will talk about all the off the court stuff that's happening in the WNBA. But the thing I want to express first, and the reason why it's lower down on the list, is because I like basketball. I love basketball. I love watching basketball. I love watching WNBA. I wanted this pod to be about basketball. As a journalist, or at least what I maybe try to pretend to be a journalist, we will talk about the other things because they are newsworthy and they are important. But at some point, you have to go back to an old Twitter saying of stop feeding the trolls. And ultimately, the conversations that are had that have nothing to do with basketball just aren't fulfilling, honestly. I did not realize the WNBA was just going to become a literal political football where people just kick around anytime they need to get points off. But it is very tiresome. And I think the reason why it has become that is because there's so much happening in this league. We are going to talk about how good AJ Wilson is. The fact that Olivia Miles, if AJ Wilson was not in the league, would be winning the MVP. Why the Liberty are so bad against really good teams. Can Asia win a fifth MVP? Am I right? In a third, and she could have won 4 straight if it wasn't for being a student. We're going to talk about a lot of that stuff. The other stuff will come, but it will come much later in this pod because that's just something I'm way more concerned about for this overall show.
Yeah, when you sent me the script and you're kind of the outline, I guess I should say, I appreciate it. I was like, we have to talk about it, and we'll get into all that because it is important, and we do have to address all this stuff. But like, we're talking about basketball. Like, we watch the WNBA for basketball, or at least you and I do. A lot of other people I don't think do, but you and I watch the WNBA to watch basketball. And like you said, there's a lot of interesting stuff. Like, I would argue this is the best the W's ever been. Off the court stuff aside, like the basketball is good. Like that needs to be the focus. And yeah, we can address all that stuff later, but I agree. Push that away. You're going to just feed into it. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yes. And the reason why is because I want to talk about something like AJ Wilson. So AJ Wilson just turned 30 years old. She is currently, I think it's unimpeachable that she's the best player in the NBA or WNBA as it stands right now. And I just feel as if we are not almost like giving her just due. And that might sound insane to say, but this is someone who has already won 4 MVPs. She is a huge betting favorite to win their 5th MVP. The Vegas are second in odds to win the WNBA championship, right behind the Minnesota Lynx, who we will be talking about later. And she has a chance to win Defensive Player of the Year, which she has already won. My question isn't necessarily about how great she is, because I think she is very great. I'm almost like, it's almost at a tier at the point of being like Ohtani, Tom Brady, Mahomes, Jordan, LeBron. Like, she has, in my opinion, transcended the overall sport. A sport that I think, from my understanding, didn't have a universal GOAT, right? You can say Cheryl Miller, you can say Maya Moore. Like, there was a lot of athletes who I think maybe like Lisa Leslie, like maybe touched at it, but didn't have a strong, like, this is me. Kind of like baseball. I think baseball didn't really have a GOAT. I think that this is done. Like, I don't think she has to win another championship. She might win this championship. But I just feel as if it's like we are literally watching the greatest of all time in real time, but we are not speaking of her in those type of terms.
Yeah, I agree. I thought I was going to come in with a hot take, but I agree with you. I think she could retire right now, and she's already the GOAT. And I don't even think it's close because, like you said, there wasn't a GOAT or a unanimous GOAT before this. Like, I would say maybe Diana Taurasi is maybe the betting favorite if you're picking. But Maya Moore is up there, Candace Parker, some of the greats from the past, like Cheryl Miller, Shell Swoops, all of those. I think she's better than all of them, and she's only 30 years old. Like, I mean, you went through the resume, four MVPs, 3 titles that the Aces have won. Nobody's ever won 4 MVPs before. She did it before she turned 30. She's already
about
one of the
to win
best.
The 5th.
Right. I mean, she could win 5, 6, 7. I mean, like, she's going to dominate all records. She's going to be the points leader by the time it's all done. She's going to be the rebounding leader by the time it's all done. Probably going to be the blocks leader by the time it's all done. So she's going to, like, dominate all the stats. She's going to dominate all the record books. Not to compare this to the NBA, but, like, to me, this is kind of like the Kareem, back in the day for the NBA, where, like, the W doesn't have the history, right? We're only 30 years in. NBA is like 60, 70 years at this point. More than that, 80 years. Like, this is very clearly the best player we've ever seen. And why she's not being talked about, I think we know why, and we can talk about that towards the end of the podcast. But I think just on the court, she's clearly the best player. And I would argue, if you look at all sports right now, the difference between her and the second best player, it's greater than any other sport. Like, I think Otani really has the only other case, but there's some other good players as well. She's clearly head and shoulders above the rest. Like, we'll talk about Olivia Miles. We'll talk about some of these other good players. But, like, it's a shame that she doesn't get talked about because she's just that good.
Currently, A'ja Wilson is leading the league with 26.5 points per game, 9.6 rebounds per game, and 2 blocks per game. She also leads the league in win shares at 6.6. Yeah, I think that this is just something like hiding in plain sight. And I think, unfortunately, she does not get the kind of respect that she does, but I think the game ultimately will do the talking, as, like I said, they are second in odds to win the W championship. They are not first, though, because first are the Minnesota Lynx, who I've watched the Lynx probably the most outside of the Liberty. And I'll say it now. I'll call the shot now. I know we have a couple weeks until the playoffs. I think the Lynx will win the championship. Like, I think that their team, I don't think that there's a team that can guard them. Because I watched them play. They were playing Dallas, who is like they might play in the first round. We'll see. And it's funny, if we actually had like real media, Dallas would be getting a lot more shit. Like, a lot more shit if, we discuss things like that. But the Lynx are one of the best offensive teams in the league. They lead the league in everything. They lead them in points scored. They lead them in offensive efficiency. They lead them in literally almost every offensive category. And they're one of the best defensive players, with one of the defensive players of the year on their team. I was really concerned that Nafisa Collier, who was hurt for most of the season, I don't know if she's going to play 10 games yet, but she's only come back recently. She came back right before the All-Star break. I was a little bit concerned because it felt like it shifted over to Olivia Miles' team because she was dominating. Someone who made the All-Star team as a rookie. But I feel like she's almost fit in like a glove. Like, I watched the game and everyone's doing well. I mean, Kayla McBride had 43 points in the game that I watched. Dallas
set the record for most threes.
Threes. Dallas, you got to tight up your defense. But every time I watch them play, I just go like, they lose Kayla McBride all the time. Like, I watched them play the Liberty, ripped them as well. I think as a team that's kind of in odd space because they won all those championships with Maya Moore, and then I feel like it's just been like a bridesmaid. They kept losing to the Liberty. They lost to the Vegas, right? They like never were able to get to the championship, to win the championship rather. even though they have this history of winning. And so are you out there with me, the fact that they are seemingly going to win the championship? I feel like they are. And can they finally stop being a bride that oddly became a bridesmaid, if that even makes sense?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. To me, they'd be the favorite, or they deserve to be the favorite. I think they've been the best team, and it's impressive because, like you said, Collier only came back just recently. So the fact that they were this good, I mean, they were the best team in the league without a top 5 player in the league. Like, that's impressive enough. It's been an interesting past couple of years for them, because I agree where it's like they were in it, but they never got over the hump. And I remember my wife and I were talking after the playoffs last year, and they lost, I think, in the semifinals last year. And we said, we're like, okay, this is now like 3 years in a row where they just can't get over the hump. And like at that point, what do you do? Like, you can't fire the coach because you have probably the best coach of all time. She's won 4 championships. You can't trade your best player because Nafise Collier is great. Are you just never going to win a title? And then Olivia Miles comes along and it changes everything. I mean,
it
I don't know how you feel
is,
about her, but it's...
sorry, not to cut you off. This is very much like Lim bias joining the Lakers. Like, this is, the Celtics. Like, this is what they were, like a top 2 pick. Yep. And again, like, Dallas needs to, like, and again, AZ Fudd, we'll see. Like, let's not go too far. It's 1 year.
Don't get me started on the AZ Fudd versus Olivia Miles.
But it looks bad. And that was always, I got into an argument with someone. WNBA fans are interesting breeds. But I got into an argument because one of the questions that they asked was, hey, what is your relationship with Paige Beckers? And it very much, they were dating at one point. It doesn't appear that they are dating now, which is fine. But I have to ask the general manager, did their relationship play a part in you drafting this woman? It's fine if it did, but you had better be right. Because this girl's going to win MVPs. And you passed on that. And in any other situation, if there was someone who won MVPs and you passed on them for someone who's good, I think AZ Fudd will be a good player. You have to answer for that. And I think the fact that they have basically skated by and that's like not been a talking point is ridiculous. It's like, these are grown, and that's the thing I always say, these are grown women. They can handle hard questions. Like, this is something that the team needs to answer for. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate, I do think it did play a factor, but play devil's advocate, you can make the case that AZ Fudd was the better fit. And I got into some arguments with some WNBA fans with this as well. They're like, Olivia Miles, Paige Beckers, like, they don't fit. I was saying before the season, I certainly would say now, but I was saying before the season, when you have a great player like Olivia Miles, like, I don't care the fit. You take the best player and you figure it out later. Like, Olivia Miles and Paige Beckers, they could play together. Like, I wouldn't be worried about that. Dallas probably played into the relationship back, but let's say they didn't. They were like, hey, AZ Fudd is a perfect fit next to Paige. We've seen it happen. We saw it in college. She's a great, I don't want to call her a role player, but she's an elite role player. Like, I think that's her, like, mid-level would be just kind of an elite role player, good defender, good 3-point shooter. So in theory, yeah, that's a great fit. But, like, you don't pass up elite talent like Olivia Miles to do that.
You got the number 1 pick of the draft. What are we talking about?
You take the best player. You're not taking fit. But they're going to regret it for a while because we can talk about it. I could make a pretty good case Olivia Miles should be the MVP. Like, Asia would win.
Okay, no, I want to hear this. I want to hear this. I disagree, but I want to hear what your thought is.
I would pick Asia, so I'm just going to make the case because we talked about Asia. She's great. I think when you have somebody come in as a rookie, bring this team that wasn't expected to do much. I thought, they were going to be a decent team, but without Collier, that, wasn't expecting like a number 1 seed. But to be able to bring a team like this, she is the focal point of their offense. Yes, Kayla McBride, Courtney Williams, others. Like, it's a good team. But without Olivia Miles, she is their centerpiece. To be able to bring them to one of the best records in the league. I don't have the stats up in front of me, but I think she's averaging 20 points a game now.
She's at 20 points per game, 6 assists per game. That's 7th in the league. And she averages about 30 minutes a game. She's shooting 50% from the field as a guard, 40% from 3, and 87% from the free throw line. She's a 61
So,
for a guard to have a 61% true shooting percentage is elite.
like that right there is what does it for me. And we don't have to get too far into this, but I think she's had a better year than any season that Caitlin Clark's had. And we'll save all that for the end. But like that right there is what makes her so good. Like, yes, people can put up points. Yes, you can see, her highlight reel assist, all of that. But to be almost a 50, 40, 90 player as a guard, as a rookie, leading your team to the number one seed, I think they have a couple game advantage. I think they're going to be the number one seed. Like most seasons, that's an MVP. To average 20 points, 6 assists, 50, 40, almost 90. To me, that's the MVP. Now, Asia's there. I get it. Asia's probably going to win. I would probably pick her. But I think Olivia Miles has a case.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought we were going to come in here have a real back and forth, but I think I just looked at her let me double check because Olivia Miles was like, it wasn't close. She was like plus almost 1,000, I think, as far as MVP, and I think Agent Wilson was like minus. Yes, so right now, as I see it, I will not say the place that is given to me, but just trust me. She has gone somewhat. It's slided back a little bit. She was a minus 500. She's now a minus 360. Beckers and Miles are actually a lot closer together than I would figure. Beckers is actually second at plus 850. Miles is at plus 1,000, and then Caitlin Clark is at plus 1,400. So I would be pretty. I would be pretty shocked if Agent doesn't win. There's only a couple more weeks, unless she gets hurt, God forbid. I think she's going to win this MVP. But I do think, as we just looked up her numbers, she's leading the league in plus minus. Shout out to Jaylen Brown at plus 275. And I just watch her play, and I think the thing that I gotten the most from her is that she's always in control. Like, she's not rushing. Like, if the three's there, she'll take it. She'll clearly push the pace, push the ball ahead. She's got shooters everywhere. But she always feels like she's in control. And that, to me, the fact that you're doing this in your rookie season, to me, is incredible for the number one seed. So I give her a lot of credit. Obviously, Rookie of the Year, that's done. But I'll be interested to see how the voting goes. I do think Asia will win, but I do think that the odds might be slightly off because I think it will be closer than what we are.
I do think, there will be votes for her. I mean, anytime you're a number one seed, and like you said, she's the quarterback of the team. Like, she runs it. Like, even Collier comes back. It's not Collier's team anymore. It's Olivia Miles' team. So to do that as a rookie, put up the stats she's putting up. I love Asia, so like I don't want to pick Olivia Miles, but like she will win MVPs. I'm not worried about that in her career.
Yes, she will. And again, they might face the Dallas Wings in the first round, which would be a very interesting matchup. That'd be fun. Sliding on to the other side of the standings, the Liberty are having one of the most Jekyll and Hyde seasons I can remember. The Liberty came into this year as the favorites to win the championship. They were the favorites, not co-favorites, the favorites to win the championship. I want to just emphasize that. I believe after they got absolutely smacked by the Fever, they're just checking. They're tied for 8th with the Wings. They're a half game up on them. They're tied in the loss column. Now, to be fair to them, they're only 2 games back of the 4 seed and essentially 3 games back of the Aces. The problem with that is that they can't beat any good teams. They lost to the Lynx. They lost to the Aces. They lost to the Fever. I know they just beat the Lynx. I know they just beat the Aces. Aces didn't play anybody. And they smacked them at home. As someone who is a Liberty fan, I'm very concerned of this team. I know they won the Commissioner's Cup. I know they had a little bit of a swoon after that. And it kind of been playing better, but I wouldn't say playing their best. And I just think their defense sucks. I just don't think they can guard anyone. Like, again, I watched the Fever Liberty game, and I know the Fever are one of the best. I think the Fever have to score the most points in the league. And so maybe they just do this everyone. That game was over by the second quarter. They killed them. Kelsey Mitchell, who she kills everyone. She kills the Liberty specifically. Like every time they play, just goes off. And I think that they are, if they play the Lynx, they are out in round one. The Valkyrie, I think, might be a little bit interesting just because this will be, I guess, their second time in the playoffs, but with expectations, really.
Yep.
So maybe the youth, as a three-game series, you arguably have the two best players, or maybe you do, on the team. You might be able to get that, but there's no way they're beating two of the Fever, the Lynx, or the Aces. And my question to you is, why they fire the coach? That's really my question. Why they fired their coach?
Yep. I had some notes coming on to this podcast. That was one of my questions I was going to ask you, is why did they make a coaching change? Nothing against Chris DeMarco. Maybe he's a good coach. Sure doesn't look like it. Sandy Rondello seems like a good coach. You're going to know more than me, but like, you had success. You just won a championship, 2 years ago? 3 years ago now?
3 years ago, yeah.
Like, that seemed a little bit rushed to say, hey, disappointing year, we got to make a change. Like, the only thing I can think is your star players wanted Chris DeMarco, which, based on looks and interviews, it doesn't really seem like they like that now. But that's the only thing that I can think of, that they were unhappy and they're like, hey, we need to make a change. Because if not, like, I don't know why you do this.
Yeah, like, I tried to, it doesn't make any sense. Like, when it happened, there was a very strong reaction. And the weird thing about it was being discussed before they lost. I mean, if you remember last year, they lost to the Mercury, who got to the WNBA finals. But if you remember, they won game one in Phoenix. Like, Tanisha Cloud I'm pretty sure she had a triple-double. Like, there was a thought that they could have upset them and get to the second round. And then they turn around and get their backs blown out in the next two games. One back at home and then back in Phoenix. They lost both games by well over double digits. And, I mean, they were talking about firing Sandy before the playoffs started. And to me, that just didn't make any sense. I think that their star players, me personally, I think Sabrina Ionescu is their best player now. And I felt this way since they won the championship. Stewie, love it, great. I think if they don't have Sabrina, their team is not good. And they're still a really good offensive team. I think the pieces around them aren't great. I think Stewie is a good defensive player. I do not think she was what she was at the height. And Ionescu's not going to be a great defensive player because of reasons. And Jacquel Jones, while she isn't an odd career, Jacquel Jones has won an MVP, has won a championship, has won the Commissioner's Cup, has won the All-Star Game MVP, and I watch her play a lot of times, and I'm like, is she this good?
Yeah.
I swear, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Yeah. I watch her play, I'm just like, she just looks like she. Again, I know I'm doing the man thing. She reminds me a lot of Kat. Just a lot. Like the body language, the flipping up the hands. And listen, centers, they're mercurial creatures, especially when you're the last line of defense, all this other stuff. But she does not look happy a lot of the time. And I get it. Like, you have to do some of the dirty work, but you get the ball a lot. I think that their team is at a very much a crossroads because now they just hired the coach. Are you really going to fire this coach now? I can't see that, right? Yeah. Joe Tsai and his wife have now gotten divorced, so I don't know if she's now completely in charge of the Liberty. Is that something that has to be worked out in court? Like, that part is a little fuzzy from my understanding, but to me, they have to make some roster updates because this team's they're not beating any of those teams I just mentioned.
Again, I mean,
maybe the Valkyrie, but that's the Fever, the Lynx, and the Aces are taking them out in like 2 games in the first round.
Yeah, I'm done with this year for the Liberty. Like, even if they get healthy, like there's just been too much up and down, too much in and out of the lineup. Like, I'm already moving on to next year. Yeah. I guess I want to ask you, the reason they were favorites going into the year is because, they had all these big stars, Sabrina, Stewie, Jonquil Jones, like you said, and then they signed Satu Sabali,
who's been hurt healthy all year. She has a concussion now.
Yeah, I was going to say, when healthy, she's a good player, but she's missed most of the time. They signed her, Leonie Phoebish has also been hurt. Like, they had all the stars, but you don't really win basketball now with just stars. And I said that before the year started. I was like, I think they're going to be good. Like, I would project them. I had Aces Liberty in the final, which obviously isn't going to happen now. But I said, I was like, you can't just put stars together and expect things to always work out. Like, you need those role players. You need the Leonie Phoebish. You need the Benijah Laney's. Like, that's how they won before, and they just haven't had that this year. So I don't know why. I don't know why they went and signed Satu Sabali. Easy to look back on because she's just been hurt. But, like, you need more depth because, like you said, they just don't have depth. They don't have defensive pieces. Injuries are part of it. But, like, I didn't like their offseason. I thought it was a risk, and obviously we're seeing how it's paying off.
Yeah, we will see. But don't worry. We know who's about to get the blame. Shout out to being the coach. That's why they pay the big bucks.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's going to get – I wouldn't be surprised if he's fired. Like, I know you said
you think he'll get fired?
Yeah. The W seems to do that a lot. They fire coaches after 1 year, whether it's deserving or not. That I don't know if the Liberty will, but I wouldn't be surprised. Because, like you said, somebody's got to take the blame.
But so here's the thing. This is why I feel like it's going to be the players. Because typically, I think I argue it's always the coach that goes before the players, right? Because it's easier to get rid of the coach than it is the players. They're not trading Stewie. They're not going to trade Enescu, right? Enescu already said she's trying to re-sign with the Liberty, which it might be a little tenuous now, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. God, please don't let that happen. But I think that because they did this coach already, firing, I think that this is when they might start. Hey, Jones, you want to live somewhere else than New York? Like, I think that they will make that move because that's kind of the thing that really feels like it changes. Because I feel like if they fire the coach and get another coach, will fans just feel like they're just rearranging chairs on the Titanic type of thing? But I agree with you. Like, I can see them saying we need to screw it. We screwed up. We're getting another coach. Be damned what the media says.
I mean, realistically, it's gonna be a first round exit. They're gonna keep the coach. They're just gonna be like, hey, we were hurt, which they've been one of the most injured teams. So, like, I can see that path. They're gonna be like, hey, Satu was out the whole year. Phoebish was out, most of the year. Like, those are two important players. They're gonna be back. Like, we're gonna be good next year. Not saying it's not gonna work out, but I don't know if I would go that route. But I think that's probably what they'll do. It's just be like, hey, we were injured. We're gonna bring them all back.
Yeah, exactly. All right, time to talk about the fun stuff. So before we get into this, I want to speak about the Fever overall as a team. Because, unfortunately, we don't actually get to talk about them as a basketball team. They're really good. Like, they're really good. Like I said, I think they're leading the league in scoring. They've had Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark are not just on All-Stars. They're on the Olympic team as well. Both of them. And
Aaliyah Boston, too.
So three people. They've had two back-to-back number one picks who they've hit, Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. And they have a style of play that I think is, like, very good. This is not a team that ball hogs, even though they have a top scorer on the team, again, with Kelsey Mitchell. That's why I mentioned. They're a very fun team to watch. And yet, we do not talk about basketball with this team at all. I'll ask you, have you seen a team that almost is like, with Caitlin Clark fans, with what Sophie Cunningham has said, to just, it always just feels like there's noise with this team? Are you almost like, I'm almost impressed that they're able to win as many games as they are, to be honest. And the fact that Clark's hurt a lot. Like, she's on a good stretch of playing games. right now, but she last year was basically a lost year. She was hurt all year. This year she was in and out of the lineup. She's going to miss another game because she can't stop cursing at referees. So she's going to miss a game at some point with the technical. Yeah, like how what's your view on what the Fever have been all year this year?
I'll push back a little bit to talk about the basketball side first. I think right now they're playing really well. I don't think they've been a good team the whole year. Like, okay. I think that's what made it kind of frustrating, I guess, as a WNBA fan first, because all this conversation about Caitlin Clark, all this conversation about the Fever, and for a while, I don't think they were that good. Like, Caitlin Clark was kind of struggling to start the year. Kelsey Mitchell hadn't hit her stride yet. So they were a good team, but like struggling, like kind of lower in the standings, kind of where the Liberty are right now. And so it was frustrating because everybody talks about Caitlin Clark. Everybody talks about the Fever. And I'm like, okay, but look at Asia Wilson. Look at what the Aces are doing. Look, Minnesota, they're without Nafees Collier, they're playing well. Indiana's not playing that good. Caitlin Clark is putting up stats, but like she's not efficient. She turns the ball over. I'm not saying she's a bad player. I don't want everybody to come at me, but like, they were struggling. And so I thought that made it kind of harder because it's like this team gets all the headlines. They get all the press. Now they're getting a ton of off the court press. I don't think they're that good of a team. But now I think it's, I guess, maybe even harder because like you said, they're playing well. So we have to talk about the basketball, but yet somehow that never gets discussed. And first it was Caitlin Clark. Now it's Sophie Cunningham. We can get into all that, but it's, I guess it's impressive. I mean, going back to your question, I guess it's impressive that they can keep winning. I mean, they must have really good structure in place on the inside of like, hey, everything that's happening on the outside, we're just focusing on basketball. It's working for them. I can't imagine it's sustainable, but I guess credit to them. I don't really want to give credit to them, but credit to them for continuing to play really good basketball because it is fun to watch.
But that's the thing that's so frustrating is like, this should be fun. It was fun to hate the Patriots when I was growing up. It was fun for people to hate the Golden State Warriors a decade ago with Steph and KD and those guys. It was fun to hate LeBron. They've made it so annoying. This is not even fun. Like, a good team. Might not like their vibe. It's cool. I have a sports deep hate for the Pacers. I get mad just seeing Tyrese Halliburton's face. But I don't hate him as a human. I want him to live his life, be great, and be happy. Right? But when he's rocking that number 0 on the Indiana, there's a burning desire for someone to give him a hard foul. And the fact that we had people, again, this is what I talk about political football. It's like, what are we talking about here? I see some people saying we're lucky we're not having a WNBA team here because you would arrest someone for doing a hard foul. What do you do to the Dolphins? Do you not watch football? Like, or we didn't allow men now into the league so we can beat up the women who are hitting. Like, what is? And this is the thing I fundamentally felt about the WNBA. And I think this is the overall point. They have no leadership. None. Like, I think that the commissioner will be replaced. I mean, Adam Silver can say whatever he wants. He told her to suspend, God, I can't remember her name. The woman on the Sun, the Mercury.
Thomas.
Yes, Alyssa Thomas, who put her fist in, like, when your boss essentially is telling you what to do, reportedly, that's not a great look.
Yeah, you're not in control.
Exactly. And to me, I don't think she's in control. I don't think she knows what she's doing.
No.
And unfortunately, I think it's really hurting the league. We're on minute 50. And this is the first time we've ever talked about any of this stuff because there's so much more basketball to talk about. And they have to decide what type of league they want to be. Okay? Your league is by and large part black and gay. Your fans, I'm not saying all these fans are like this, but your core fans, your fans that have been with you forever, in large demographics are minorities, women, and LGBTQ plus members. Okay. You have an influx of fans who weren't necessarily a part of that or could have been, right? Like, I'm not saying that, but the numbers show that if men have significantly been part of the new fan base, right? And I don't believe a lot of these men hate women. They might just like to gamble, right? Like, it's for different reasons. But the fact that, again, the headlines are just about someone punching someone, a cheating allegation, a stream happening, it's all too much. A comment in the news. Stephanie White, the coach of the Fever, just went on a rant, and frankly, I don't know what the hell she was talking about. Like, I'm being so serious. She literally went on a rant of like, I'm going to protect my players. I'm tired of everyone talking about this. I'm like, the call's coming from inside the house, lady. Like, what are you doing? And again, she's the coach. I get it. You got to back your team, right? If they're out on you, you're out of a job. But I don't think she's having a good time at all. And these outbursts have just been flatly insane. And I think that for them, at some points, this is going to catch up to them. I just don't believe you can have this much noise and win a championship during the season. Yeah. What say you?
I think it's twofold, and I don't know how much you want to get into each one. I think it's the Caitlin Clark stuff and the stuff that's been going on in the last couple of years, and then I think it's the Sophie Cunningham stuff and the trans stuff, and we can talk about that. But the fact that they have both kind of coming at them, all the Caitlin Clark stuff, all these new fans, some potentially good, a lot of them not so much, and now all the Cunningham stuff, the rallies that are happening, now Enes Kanter, Freedom, whatever his name is now, Royce White, all these guys who are like, yep, we're going to join the W now. Like, that's a whole thing. I agree it's too much. And I'd be curious what the locker room is like if I'm Indiana. Like, if I'm Kelsey Mitchell, maybe she's friends with Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham off the court. Maybe she's not. I don't know. I'd be really curious what the locker room is like in there. Because like you said, Stephanie White goes on this rant. You said it's your players. It's your fan base. It's your team that's causing this. What do all the other players think? Like, if I'm Kelsey Mitchell, am I just like, hey, maybe she agrees with them. I don't know. I would assume not. Maybe she just sees Caitlin Clark, sees Sophie Cunningham, and is like, hey, they're good basketball players to play with. I'm going to put my head down. Like, I want to win a championship. At some point, that's what you got to do. But if I'm Kelsey Mitchell, if I'm Aaliyah Boston, if I'm all those players, like, I'd get tired of this. I wouldn't want to have to deal with this, let alone, whatever Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham like actually think. Like, it's just too much. And I agree. I don't think they can win a championship like this. If they do, credit to them. But at some point, it's too much.
Well, you asked how Aaliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell about this feels. I think they feel about this like how every black person in corporate America has ever felt. I just gotta make it to tomorrow. I just gotta make it to tomorrow, because these chicks is crazy. And yeah, to even talk about, like, I guess the Sophie Cunningham stuff, to just to bring it up, it's like you can't keep trying to tell people I'm not this, yet constantly putting yourself in these places. I'm not MAGA. I just pull up at a UFC event as a ring girl. Yeah. I'm not MAGA. I just have my two biggest famous fans are Clay Travis and Dana White. I'm not MAGA. I don't believe trans women should be in the WNBA, right? This woman knows what she's doing, right? And I'm not going to want to out people for what they make, but Sophie Cunningham does not make, relatively speaking, that much money, okay? Yep. And one of the things that I was talking about before with not Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, was the fact that when we were talking about, or I was talking to you, I was talking to actually Nina about this, where her getting traded to Atlanta was really good for her brand, right? And one of the things that I personally didn't really like about that was me talking about, like, yes, that's important, but the basketball should be the most important thing. Her pushback, which I think was fair, was that while these players are getting more money, they're not necessarily in the tax bracket, you could say, of being like rich, right? Again, very wealthy, maybe not rich. Sophie Cunningham don't make that much money. And you are not going to convince me that someone who has a podcast, which she does, who's on a 1-year deal with the Fever, she will be a free agent after this season, that she is not looking to cash in some kind of way. Sophie Cunningham will be 30 years old this year. She still is a decent player. She's shooting, I believe, 40% from three, which is pretty good. This is not a bad basketball player. But you are not going to convince me that this woman is not trying to see into the future of my career might be kind of waning. Will I be signed? Will certain cities want to take me in? I don't think Atlanta and her kind of mesh, right? Yeah. Seattle doesn't seem like a great place for her as well. So I think Cleveland might be a spot for her. I could see her getting down in Cleveland when they get a team eventually. But I feel like this is not this whole like, oopsie, I don't know what I'm doing here. I think she very much knows what she's doing and is clearly making that pit of money that just always fills with maggots, just it's always forming there.
Well, that was my takeaway through all this. Like, she knows what she's doing. She is setting herself up not for the next couple of years, but for like a post-career future, because she has one now. Whether it's on Fox News, whether it's on whatever, like she has fans now, and whether she like fully believes in all of that, like you said, if you're doing all this MAGA stuff, maybe she doesn't truly believe it, but if you're willing to take money and take fame from all the people that support that, then you are involved with that, whether you like it or not. So she knows what she's doing. She's riding off of Caitlin Clark's coattails and being like, hey, there's an avenue for me to be this like pretty popular player. You know, I can say I'm just supporting women. I'm just all this that she's saying, claims she's doing nothing wrong. But at the end of the day, she knows what she's doing. Like she's smart. She knows what she's doing.
Exactly. And my question, I guess, to you to talk about freedom. It's so funny. I don't know if I meant to do this when I was watching it. I always hated Enes Kanter. Like, again, someone who roots for the Knicks, I hated him on the Knicks so much. What's the point of this? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Like, I don't even really know what. Like, Royce White just lost his bid for senator in Minnesota badly. Came in last place. I don't know if he came in last, but he finished. He got like less than 10% of the vote. To Michelle Tafoya, speaking about fucking sports,
what a race.
What a time. Could you at least try to maybe get into their minds to understand, like, what exactly is this to accomplish, and what is actually their goal of all these publicity stunts? What I feel like they are.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear what it is. It's, at least for those two, it's to stay relevant. Like, that's all they care about. You know, similar to Sophie Cunningham doing all this to stay relevant after her career. Like, when was the last time we really thought about Enes Kanter? You know, Royce White, he's trying to do stuff, whatever. Now all of a sudden they're relevant. You know, they can push back, you know, to them, and, you know, the people that support them, they can be, oh yeah, they're this good political figure trying to push back on, you know, the opposition, all of that. Like, they don't want to play in the W. They don't want to actually transition. They don't want to do any of that. They want to stay relevant. And it's unfair to the W. It's unfair to the players. It's unfair to trans people who, like, this isn't just a joke to them. We shouldn't be looking at someone like a Royce White and be like, oh yeah, like I'm a woman now. Like, you have to treat me as a woman. Like, you should let me play. Like, we can recognize, we as a society are smart. We can recognize when somebody's, Well, that too.
It's like, what are we fucking doing?
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. I cut you off, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to know anything about these two people, just if those that don't know, just look up Royce White and Enes Kanter. I'm not even saying the basketball part of it, just like who they are as people, like the stories they've been in. That's the type of person we're dealing with. And
yes, Royce White, who has, again, I didn't know they can do this, a 50-year restraining order. I literally never heard of that. I didn't know that was possible. You could have a 50-year restraining order against his ex-wife and child. But hey, to protect women crowd.
I mean, this whole thing, it's about spreading love and treating everybody as equal. So I don't want to just go down on them. But again, these are the type of people that are trying to come in, and they're not trying to support women. And that's the whole thing with Sophie Cunningham. If they were really trying to support women, there's a whole lot of other things you could do. Like if you were really trying to support trans rights, a whole lot of other things you could do. It's not about that to them. It's about pushing back on their ideology, pushing back on their relevancy. That's what matters to them. And they're going to push, and they're going to push. And the unfortunate part is the W is going to have to put up a wall and say, hey, no, this is our stance. We're forced to make one. We can talk about that if you want. But it's unfair to them. It's unfair to the players. It's unfair to everybody we just talked about for 50 minutes because this is the story. Not all the basketball that we should be talking about.
Yeah, I think for this, it's the reason why I feel like it's such an easy discussion because it's one of those things where it's like a quick answer, right? It's like what's the capital of New York? Or sorry, that's not a good one. What's a city in New York? New York City, right? It's one of those things where you don't have to think that hard. I just screwed that up. But my point is the reason why that issue, the issue with when it comes to transgender women is such a big thing is because it feeds into the base that doesn't have to think that hard, right? Because secrets out, guys, there actually was a trans woman already playing in the league. Now, she was a biologic woman, but she went as non-binary and said that she was trans. But y'all don't care about that. It just happens to be a group that's within a group that is within a group, right? That's how small we're essentially talking about. And I think that ultimately the stance has to be, again, go back to what we talked about before, is that the leadership needs to come out and say that this is unacceptable. We believe in these principles. We believe in Sophie Cunningham's ability to speak, but these are our guidelines and we are not changing them. And even if they want to go through this charade of applying for the draft, they will not be drafted. And then they will come out and say, I am being discriminated against, and they will pretend to sue. And then we will continue this on and on and on, because ultimately they are you said it best. They are latching on to whatever, left of relevancy that they might even have. And it is a sad state to have to talk about this overall, but it is the noise has gotten too loud where you can't even kind of ignore it anymore. And I guess my question though is something in the future, because this will eventually go away, whatever, right? We'll talk about the playoffs, the season will go on, whatever. It might pop up a little bit again at the draft. You might have those, but this will go away, is my point is. But Caitlin Clark's in year 3. She's not leaving the league, right? Sophie Cunningham is going to she's under contract for at least one more year. So she, albeit through an injury, if she doesn't get injured, will play next year. This is now in the pool of the WNBA. How do you feel like, again, we very much feel like the commissioner is going to be out. How do you feel that the next commissioner should tackle this issue that's just going to be always a pot to stir for the W going forward?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're a lot more optimistic than I am. I don't think this issue is going to go away anytime soon. Okay. And I don't envy the next commissioner. I agree. I don't think Kathy Engelbert, I don't think she's doing a good job at all. But I don't want to be the person that comes in and has to deal with all this. because like it's gotten such press that you can't just be like, hey, let's focus on the basketball. Playoffs are coming. This is going to be a thing. And that's why I said it's unfortunate. Now that you have actual people pushing and claiming they're, trans now and want to enter the draft, I think the W at some point is going to be forced to try to push back and do something. Like I don't
But
know,
that's what I'm saying.
maybe
I feel like personally the way that they have to do it is just, okay, you want to transition? Sure. We need you to go through these steps, do these things, and we will do hormone tests. And once you pass these, you are allowed it. Yep. So again, that's my point. Hold their feet to the fire. Everyone is so afraid, like, oh my God, it's like, okay, Enes Kanter, these are our rules. Clear as day. To enter our league, you have, and if you want to be transition out, you have to follow these guidelines. And if you do not follow these guidelines, you cannot play. And push again. Do it. I always said this. You want to, again, excuse the language, cut your dick off for clout? Be my guest. All right? Stop pussyfooting around this. Just let's do this. If you want to if you really about this, then you're really about this. But he's not. Neither is Royce. That's why I feel like a better commissioner can kill it. Because my overall point is not this, right? Because the news is so cyclical, right? Like we are going to be into football and basketball in 2 weeks, right? Yep. So that's why I feel like this is going to go away, right? Just because the reason why I think this is so heightened is because there's no sports on outside of just really this WNBA and your local baseball team. But once college football, NFL, basketball, NHL comes back up, no one's going to be tweeting about this. And then it's going to be their off season. And once we get to that point, they have plenty of time to at least be like, these are our rules. We are having whoever the commissioner is. I'm doing the roundabout press tour. Send me on Simmons Pod. I'm going to Fox News. I'm going to MSNBC. I'm going everywhere I can to say, this is what this is. And if you want to come through, these are our rules. And then it's done, because I know nobody is about that life. I know. And again, you still might not get drafted. That's the point. Like, just because you do all this doesn't mean you're going to be good enough to get into the league. So I think that they need to, Adam Silver, whoever's the board of governors, whoever is in charge, they that we always say in any type of conversation, they need to kick this lady to the curb and get someone who is very forthright in this. Condoleezza Rice, not a fan of politics. I know she's at least a leader. She's been in sports. She's part of the Denver Broncos group. Call her. Hillary Clinton, she's not doing anything. Like, someone who I at least know has been in rooms where there's going to be tough conversations. And give her the bag. Y'all make all y'all's teams are well over $400 million worth. So y'all have the money. Like, that to me is why the only reason why they think this is this long is because of the commissioner's inability to quell problems. And that's essentially what a commissioner is supposed to do, is to quell the issues.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you nip this in the bud, I think it will go away. But that's why I say they have to put out those rules. They have to put out this checklist, because I don't think if you just say, hey, it's going to go away, they're going to get tired of it, whatever, it's going to come back. So if you're going to do something, you got to, like you said, you got to say, hey, this is your list. You got to commit to it, because they're not going to, like you said. I just think it's unfortunate that, I mean, the names you mentioned, like, this feels more like a political league than a basketball league. And I think it's true that you need somebody who's been in those rooms and can, like, deal with all of this. But I want, like, a good basketball commissioner. Like, I want to focus on the basketball, and I think it's unfortunate that we have to think of politicians, essentially, to say, hey, come, like, stand strong with our league. Come figure out all our issues. Like, it's sad. But I think it's the right thing to do. I think they have to do this, because if not, it's just going to keep coming back.
Yes. And also, I did not... It was not lost on me that Hillary Clinton was at a Liberty game. So, yeah, just put it out there. Let's see.
You never know.
See you next week. That is Will Engstrom. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you still have your very young child who's not even a year-ish?
3 months.
3
made
months.
It 3 months. If we can make it through the first 3 months, we can make it through the first year. That's what I keep telling myself.
Go. Thank you all. Please tell the people where they can find you at and what you have going on currently.
Will's World, TikTok, YouTube. Don't have a podcast, but I put out a whole bunch of shorts. Starting to do some film breakdowns, all of that. So if you want to see more sports, again, we talk sports, we talk WNBA, MLB, NBA, NFL, all of that. Will's World, Will with 1 L. Everybody doesn't know that. Will with 1 L. TikTok, YouTube. Yeah.
And that is Will, 1 L in Will's World. Thank you guys again for listening to the Men Who Cry podcast. Please like, subscribe, review, follow Will and all the stuff that he talked about. And we'll be back talking to you guys later on next week. All right, everyone. Peace out.